Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I'm asking the question, why do people keep leaking classified material? And I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and we're going to talk about the different types of leakers at the end of this, but here's the latest news that got me really thinking about this and actually penning an article that will be published soon, I think. So this is coming from the Register, and here's what's going on. Basically, a U.S. government worker has been arrested and charged with spying for Ethiopia, according to court documents that were released and unsealed this past Thursday. Now, Abraham Lemma, age 50, Silver Springs, Maryland resident, was naturalized as a U.S. citizen, and he was born in Ethiopia, and he was detained on August 24th after allegedly sending classified U.S. national defense information to an Ethiopian intelligence agent. Now, he has worked for various American government agencies since 2019. Now, crucially, Lemma was an IT help desk technician assigned to the Bureau of Intelligence and Research within the U.S. Department of State since at least 2021. In addition to that department where he worked at night, he was also a contract management analyst at the U.S. Department of Justice during the day, according to prosecution documents. Now, both of those positions gave him access to classified information, and for the record, he's held a top secret security clearance since at least 2020. Now, oddly enough, Lemma's alleged espionage activities came to light during an investigation into the Department of State's handling of national defense information following the arrest of Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira. And if you remember, I talked about that one at length, I think it was months ago. He was arrested and accused of leaking classified Pentagon documents on Discord earlier this year. Now, according to the criminal complaint against Mr. Lemma, between December 19 of 2022 and August 7 of this year, Lemma copied, printed, and downloaded classified and top secret information from more than 100 U.S. intelligence reports, the majority of these relating obviously to Ethiopia, and he did so without authorization. He then allegedly transmitted classified national defense information, and I quote, including documents, photographs, notes, and maps, end quote, and other data relating to Ethiopia and neighboring countries over an unnamed encrypted messaging app. So probably something like Signal or Telegram was used for that. Now, this cache of documents and information also included satellite imagery from the region that was marked top secret, photos of a military compound, and other information detailing military activities in the region as well. If you didn't know, there is right now basically a war and conflict going on with Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea all combined into it. I'm not going to get into the geopolitics of that. That's actually really fascinating to see. Now, according to the court documents, or fascinating to read about, I should say, according to the court documents, I quote, Lemma's communications with the foreign official over encrypted messaging application A included a discussion of military activities of a rebel group involved in the armed struggle against the government of the relevant country. End quote. Now, in one communication, Lemma sent an image relating to the events in the relevant country and advised the foreign official, your team analyzed this and established some sort of sense of this. And that is another quote for the record. Now, Lemma also received thousands of dollars for all of this, according to the federal government, coinciding with his travels back home to Ethiopia and dates where he allegedly swiped and shared classified material. So, for example, on July 15th, Lemma is said to have tried to deposit $11,773.84, odd number, in cash at a Maryland bank while, quote, angrily discouraging an employee, end quote, from filing the currency transaction report, which is mandated by federal law and the U.S. Treasury. Any amount over $10,000 has to be reported and disclosed to the U.S. Treasury by law. So there you go. He's $1,700 and change over that. So they've got a file, and there's nothing he can do about that. Now, after returning from a trip to Ethiopia on April 30th of 2022, he allegedly deposited $4,300 the day of his return. Now, Lemma has been charged with delivering national defense information to aid a foreign government, conspiracy to deliver national defense information to aid a foreign government, and the willful retention of national defense information. Obviously, if you're handling national defense information or other classified materials, there are very special ways and markings that you have to have on the documents and special ways that you have to handle this as well. Now, the two espionage charges carry potential penalty of death or life in prison while the willful retention is a maximum of 10 years behind bars. So that is the backdrop. And the question is then, why on earth do people keep leaking all of this sensitive information? And so in no particular order, I think there are basically three types of leakers out there. And we've got examples of both. So the first one is basically the bravado or the hubris leaker. Now, I think, for example, Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira dumped out a ton of classified documents on Discord to make himself look impressive to a gaggle of gamer followers. I don't think that he was there trying to sell this to the Russians or the Ethiopians or whoever would get this information, but he clearly violated US law. Now, interestingly enough, that's also what former President Trump is being accused of, not just removing classified material and restricted documents from secure locations like the White House and then moving them to basically his home in Mar-a-Lago in Florida, but also showing them to people that had no clearance to see them. Audio recordings show that he was talking about these things and whatnot. I'm not adjudicating that. I don't care if you love or hate the guy. We're going to see what happens in court, but that's what he's being accused of as well. Now, the next type, I think, is the crusader. Now, the crusader, I think, is one part hubris and one part just trying to do the right thing. And I think that is probably most of the leakers. Now, I think Edward Snowden falls into that category as he leaked about just how deep the surveillance goes within the NSA. I also think that Reality Winner, who was basically in the military, she leaked an intelligence report about Russian interference in the 2016 elections, basically to the world. In that case, what happens with the Crusader is as they leak these documents, they're doing it without using the proper channels to release the information. They're simply putting it out there to the world to let it be consumed, whether they're giving it to reporters or just putting it on www.leakfiles.com or WikiLeaks actually, or anything else. So I think the Crusader is one part hubris, one part just wanting to get it out there to do the right thing. And the final one, I think, is the actual whistleblower. This is a person who wants to do the right thing and goes through the proper channels to get that information out into the public sphere while being protected by whistleblower laws. They are trusting the infrastructure, of essentially the legal system here in the United States. And when we're talking about U.S. leakers, to actually get this information out, and that does happen. Now, this is not a government case, but I think the perfect example of this is Frances Haugen, formerly of Facebook, essentially going basically through the legal channels for protection against Facebook and essentially getting all of that information out there about how they essentially have ruined the lives of an entire generation and should quite frankly be shut down. But I'm not going to go into that because I've gone into that a million times in previous radio segments, as well as podcasts and videos and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Those, I think, are the three. Take your pick. Feel free to call me an idiot, but I think that's why we've got leakers in this country. And quite frankly, when we are in a low trust environment as we are right now, and we can see what happens when we have low to no trust between political parties, things start to break down. I think we're going to start to see more leakers who think for whatever reason they've got a little bit of hubris, but they think they're doing the right thing. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. But if you're not going through the proper channels, it is a crime. And so there you go. We'll see what happens. And here we are. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.